fairly early on at NC State, I knew that I wanted to go to grad school. Um,
Why is that?
there's two reasons actually, and I don't know what sort of weight to attribute to each. One of them is sheer competitiveness with my brother. Um, my brother went and got his master's, and I just couldn't let him get ahead of me, right?
Georgia
Um,
Tech?
Georgia Tech, Georgia
His
Tech,
undergrad was state.
undergrad NC State. He did his fifth year while we were freshmen, and so he went to Georgia Tech after that for I think maybe a year and a half, a year to 2 years at Georgia Tech to get his master's.
Okay.
So that's part of it. The other part was that you were speaking of being sort of the science guy, was that I just kind of, when I took my classes, I just kind of found myself wanting to know more. I found that there was too many times in my undergrad chemical engineering classes, and chemistry classes, that I sat there thinking, this doesn't necessarily make sense. And what you find is, as you go, deeper into a discipline, is that a lot of the stuff they teach you to start, if you really drill into it, maybe doesn't quite make sense, or maybe it's not that it doesn't make sense, it's just that it's empirical, but they don't tell you that it's empirical. Um, and the reason they do that is because in order to fully understand either the physics or the chemistry or the whatever behind it, you have to take other classes, right? And so, particularly in chemical engineering, although I think this is probably true across all the engineering fields, um, the focus for undergraduate education is application, right? If I've got if I've got a distillation column, right, what sort of energy do I need to input? And it doesn't matter necessarily why that amount of energy, makes makes the different shelves in the distillation column, different temperatures. It just matters that if you pick one, or if you have one that you want to get to, you know how to get it to work. And so I just found myself, often asking the questions of why, and found myself dissatisfied by what we were taught at the undergrad level. When it came to, transport phenomena, when it came to organic chemistry, inorganic chemistry, physical chemistry, when it came to, sort of biochemical engineering, these sorts of things, thermodynamics. Yeah, I don't know. I just found it interesting.
Yeah, okay. Well, you just rattled off a bunch of the most difficult courses that college can offer and wanted to learn more. So, hey, I'm here for it. So you decided graduate degree, learn more, compete with your brother, and that was pretty official sophomore or junior year, and then you were on that track. You picked up a chemistry major and a math minor, all supporting this kind of graduate direction. Just a little bit on how you got to the grad degree.
I did, summer after junior year, I did what's called a research experience for undergraduates, which is actually one of those experiences you do get paid for. But that's because
Hey,
it's sort of a federally funded, initiative to get undergrads involved and interested in research, and it also takes them off normally to other universities. And so
cool.
that took me to the Colorado School of Mines, for example, that summer.
I
And
forgot
so
about that.
yeah, so that helped me as well in this. But I remember, I guess where I'm going with this is I remember being there though and thinking and already thinking about where I'm wanting to go and researching schools and figuring out like what might be good for me. And I wasn't applying yet, but I was already putting that plan in place to say, which of these fits me, and where do I think I can get in, honestly.
Yeah, so backing up a little, how'd you come to biochem then?
That honestly, that was just a product of the classes I took, what I found interesting. I you know it, I took a handful of different different classes. Right, chemical engineering is actually fairly broad. Chemistry fairly broad actually, and so there's biochemistry.
That's a required course for one of those programs.
It's a technical elective that has to be fulfilled, but you don't have to take biochem.
Okay.
Right, you could take another one. But it was just one of those things that I kind of stumbled upon, I think. And when I started learning about it, I was like, oh yeah, yep, that's hitting the
Cool.
spot, right? Um, yeah, that's just happenstance, honestly.
Yeah, just kind of a feel, and then it's like when you see it, you know it kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.